Ladies and gentlemen, grab your slingshots and prepare for a trip down memory lane as we embark on a wild adventure through the mischievous world of everyone's favorite troublemaker, Dennis the Menace. In today's captivating video, we are diving headfirst into the zany 80s cartoon rendition of Dennis the Menace, a show that had us all chuckling and shaking our heads at the antics of this pint-sized prankster. Created by Hank Ketchum and brought to animated life by the talented folks of Deke Animation City with the help of Crawley's Animation in Season 2, this series was nothing short of pure nostalgia. So join us as we unravel the secrets behind the making of this classic cartoon, discover the inspiration that fueled Hank Ketchum's comic strip, and relive some of the most unforgettable episodes that kept us glued to our screens. With voices like Brendan Thicke and the legendary Phil Hartman, you can bet your bottom dollar that this show had some serious star power. So whether you're a lifelong fan or just simply curious about the mischief that made Dennis the Menace a household name, this documentary will take you on a journey that you won't want to miss. Stay tuned as we explore episodes filled with endless laughter and mayhem, brought to you by the cereal enthusiasts over at General Mills. It's time to uncover the timeless charm of Dennis the Menace and rediscover why he still makes us smile today. Don't be a menace to your own nostalgia and hit that play button, and let's dive right into it. But one thing we should mention before we get started is if you enjoy our content, then please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is just one small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thanks! Now, let's begin. How was the character created? The story behind the comics. The tale of Dennis the Menace, a mischievous whirlwind of a boy, is a story woven from the threads of real-life inspiration, transatlantic coincidences, and two entirely different, yet equally beloved comic strip characters. Our journey begins in the heartland of America, Wichita, Kansas, in March of 1951. Here, a syndicated cartoon named Dennis the Menace made its debut in 16 newspapers. The star of this whimsical tale is young Dennis Mitchell, a sprightly 5.5-year-old with boundless energy and an inclination for helpful deeds. Unfortunately, his good intentions often lead to chaos and mayhem, with his beleaguered neighbor, Mr. Wilson, left to pick up the pieces. Dennis's cherubic appearance often acts as a shield, deflecting blame and allowing him to escape retribution unscathed. His trusty companion, Ruff the dog, accompanies him on many adventures that usually involve skateboarding or bike riding. The mastermind behind this uproarious creation was Hank Ketchum, inspired by his own son Dennis, who shared a penchant for overly energetic antics, bedtime aversion, and accidental calamities. Like a torchbearer of personal experiences, Ketchum named the characters in the comic strip after his own family. Hank became Henry Mitchell, and his wife Alice, who triggered the series by exclaiming, "Your son is a menace!" after a particularly trying bedtime, became Dennis's mom, Alice. In essence, Dennis the Menace is a heartwarming tale of a spirited, if somewhat chaotic boy who, despite occasional misadventures, possesses a sweet-natured disposition. He is more misunderstood than malevolent, much to the chagrin of his grumpy neighbor, Mr. Wilson. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, an entirely different Dennis the Menace was brewing. In March of the very same year, 1951, the British Beano comic introduced its own Dennis the Menace. Unbeknownst to either set of creators, these two Dennis characters were born independently, and the world couldn't have foreseen the immense popularity that each would achieve. The UK's Dennis, unlike his American counterpart, lacks a surname and doesn't inadvertently stumble into trouble. He creates it purposely. He is the self-proclaimed wildest boy in the world, an anti-hero who revels in causing chaos wherever he goes. His constant adversaries are the softies, led by his arch-enemy Walter, who enjoys reading, flowers, and dolls. Dennis's battles extend to all figures of authority, creating a defiant punk rock ethos. He sports a Sid Vicious-inspired spiky top and ragged black and white striped sweater, more akin to Kurt Cobain's wardrobe. His loyal companion is Gnasher, a dog with a similar attitude and an iconic haircut. Both comic strips made successful transitions to television screens and earned immense popularity amongst their readers. The UK Dennis graced the cover of the Beano in 1974, a position that he still holds to this day. Some argue that the UK Dennis embodies a truer menace than Dennis Mitchell, akin to the Monkees versus the Sex Pistols in musical terms. Yet the remarkable fact remains that both comic strips were independently launched in the same month of the same year, and went on to conquer the world. The sheer mind-boggling coincidence of two unrelated Dennises ascending to comic strip superstardom on opposite sides of the Atlantic is nothing but a testament to the enduring appeal of mischief makers and the power of creativity to transcend borders. What was the 80s cartoon series all about? Ladies and gentlemen, brace yourself for the delightful journey back to the glorious 80s, where mischief and laughter knew no bounds. Welcome to the world of Dennis the Menace, a beloved cartoon series that brought pure, unadulterated chaos and fun into our living rooms. In this whimsical BBC documentary-style exploration, we will unravel the misadventures of Dennis Mitchell, a boy whose middle name should have been Mayhem, and the exasperated Mr. Wilson, who never knew a dull moment. Our journey begins in 1990, a year when fashion was questionable at most, but cartoons were timeless. In the first episode, titled So Long Old Paint, we find Mr. Wilson, the unfortunate neighbor painting his house. Naturally, Dennis Mitchell, the pint-sized dynamo, invites himself over to help. And let me tell you folks, that Dennis's idea of help is a roller coaster ride of chaos. Mr. Wilson's sanity is at stake when Dennis turns his house into a canvas and the audience into helpless laughter machines. The comedic symphony continues when Dennis accompanies his father, Henry, to an auto showroom. There, Dennis channels his inner hurricane, and the poor salesman must have thought that he was in a whirlwind of trouble. Henry's car-buying expedition turns into a sci-fi adventure when Dennis decides to meddle with the robot assembly line, leaving the new car looking like a futuristic Frankenstein's creation, and the hilarity ensues. In Private Eye, Dennis channels his inner Sherlock Holmes, or perhaps Humphrey Bogart, in a Raymond Chandler-style takeoff. He becomes a hard-boiled private eye on the hunt for his missing dog, Ruff. With trench coats, mysterious dames, and plenty of suspense, this episode is a tribute to the classic detective genre and a hilarious take only Dennis can provide. Fasten your seatbelt, folks, as we go into another episode. The second episode, A Visitor from Outer Space, which introduces us to an alien named Randar, who lands in Dennis's room seeking peace and quiet. But what he gets is a tour of the neighborhood. When Mr. Wilson calls the police, thinking Randar is a quack, he finds himself on the wrong side of the law. Dennis takes his extraterrestrial friend on a wild ride that will leave you in stitches. Train That Boy keeps the laughter on track as Dennis and his family embark on a train trip. But oh dear, Dennis forgets his suitcase, and Mr. Wilson, in a heroic act, boards the train to deliver it. What could possibly go wrong? Well, for starters, Dennis thinks he has stumbled upon a spy thriller, and hijinks ensue, leaving Mr. Wilson to deal with more than he bargained for. In Genie Madness, Dennis and Margaret discover a genie's bottle, which leads to a hilarious wish-granting adventure. As they squabble over wishes, the situation goes from bad to worse, and their wishes turn into comedic disasters. Brace yourself for a wild ride filled with genie antics, childhood mischief, and laughter galore. In the beginning of episode 3, titled Cheer Up, we see Mr. Wilson's day take a turn for the worse when he slips on Dennis's skateboard and lands in the hospital. Enter Dennis, with his infectious enthusiasm ready to cheer Mr. Wilson up. What follows is a hospital stay like no other, with bedlam, laughter, and a dash of madness. Mr. Wilson's calm existence is thrown out the window, and we are here for every hilarious moment of it. The mayhem continues in Ghostbusters, when Dennis and his friends stumble upon an abandoned Gothic house, and they decide to turn it into a clubhouse. Little do they know that they are in for a ghostly surprise. Or are they? Dennis, in his classic form, plays the fearless leader, while his friends contend with the mysterious apparitions. But as it turns out, the ghosts have their own secrets, and Dennis takes matters into his own hands. Hold on tight as this spooky adventure turns side-splittingly hilarious. The Life You Save follows on the shenanigans of Dennis as he rescues Margaret from danger, earning her eternal gratitude. But Dennis, being Dennis, realizes that Margaret's attachment is becoming unbearable. In an attempt to find relief, he plots to have Margaret save him instead. Unfortunately, his plans backfire spectacularly, leading to an uproarious encounter with an escaped grizzly bear. The result? Pure hilarity. In the first part of episode 4, titled Shark Treatment, our first stop is a film set, where a mechanical shark is causing mayhem after a remote control mishap. Dennis, being the adventurer that he is, takes control of the mechanical shark while surfing, leaving PB and Mr. Wilson astounded. What follows is a wild ride on the high seas, with mistaken identities, laughter, and a talking shark that leaves Mr. Wilson in the limelight. Jungle Bungle transports us to the Safari-Land jungle, where Dennis, Henry, and Joey encounter a series of wild mishaps with the animal kingdom. Dennis's antics lead to encounters with snakes, crocodiles, elephants, and a mother orangutan who adopts him, much to his own chagrin. The jungle becomes their playground, and laughter ensues as Dennis and his friends navigate the untamed wilderness. In Racetrack Menace, Dennis and Henry head to the steeplechase race, and Dennis manages to turn it into a hilarious race of its own. When Dennis inadvertently gets a jockey stick and takes his place, the race takes an unexpected turn. Horses, mud, and chaos collide in this uproarious adventure that will leave you cheering for Dennis. Prepare for monumental madness in episode 5, titled All the President's Menace, The Love Rowboat, and Wilson the Menace. As Dennis and his family visit the under-renovation Mount Rushmore, Dennis's misadventures lead him to an old man holed up in one of the president's nostrils, setting off a chase with workers and a dynamite explosion that adds a fifth face to the mountain. A peaceful fishing trip takes a whimsical turn when Margaret joins the scene, leading to a series of crazy encounters, including pirates, cavemen, and an amusement park that is anything but ordinary. And as a grand finale, Dennis hypnotizes Mr. Wilson into becoming a bratty 9-year-old, resulting in an insufferable transformation that is as hilarious as it is mischievous. These episodes encapsulate the sheer zaniness and timeless appeal of Dennis the Menace. In the world of 80s animated mayhem, Dennis the Menace is a treasure trove of laughter, misadventures, and quirky characters that keep us all hooked episode after episode. Dennis the Menace is a journey into the world of childhood shenanigans, where chaos reigns supreme, laughter is abundant, and every day is an adventure. Whether it is causing car calamities, outwitting supposed ghosts, or taming mechanical sharks, Dennis Mitchell is the pint-sized prankster that you can't help but love. Marvelous Verdict, a funny and original 80s cartoon classic. In this delightful world of Dennis the Menace, where childhood innocence meets slapstick comedy, it is evident why this 1980s animated series left an indelible mark on fans of all ages. The charming blend of clear, crisp animation and impeccable voice work, led by the late great Phil Hartman, brought the characters to life in a way that made us laugh and reminisce simultaneously. The music of the series fits like a glove, adding to the overall charm of the cartoon. But what truly made it stand out were the stories that unfolded in each episode. The escapades of Dennis Mitchell, that lovably naive and inquisitive boy, as he constantly yelled, "Hey Mr. Wilson!" in an attempt to befriend everyone and help out, delivered endless entertainment. And of course, it always led to a sea of misadventures, particularly for his long-suffering neighbor, George Wilson. There is a special fondness for the innocent and good old-fashioned fun that the show encapsulates. While it may not have been the funniest or even the greatest cartoon in the grand scheme of things, it still had the ability to capture that childhood innocence and deliver timeless and entertaining dialogue, making it a beloved show for many. Episodes like the one where Dennis helps paint Mr. Wilson's house, or turns a simple car purchase into a riotous adventure on an assembly line, and even his escapade as a hard-boiled private eye in pursuit of his missing dog Ruff, are all etched into our memories. And let us not forget the time that Dennis turned an old spooky house into a clubhouse, only to discover real crooks hiding their gold. Or for that matter, when he inadvertently saved Margaret's life, leading to hilarious attempts to have her return the favor. Who could even forget the wild trip to Mount Rushmore, with Dennis scaling scaffolding and the unexpected appearance of a fifth face? Or how about the lake adventure that turned Crazyland escapade with pirates, cavemen, and erupting volcanoes? But perhaps the pièce de résistance was when Dennis hypnotized Mr. Wilson into becoming a 9-year-old brat himself. In these episodes and many more, Dennis the Menace was a timeless source of laughter and heartwarming nostalgia that continues to bring a smile to our faces. So, if you have the chance to relive this classic, don't be a menace to your own happiness. Give it a watch and let the adventures of Dennis Mitchell brighten your day once more. Which episode of Dennis the Menace was your favorite? Let us know in the comment section below. And if you liked our video, don't forget to leave us a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Until next time, have a good one and be safe.